Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Cold Lasagna Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Lasagna, bringing you all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports. This is episode number 332 of this icy yet spicy podcast. And in this episode, we're here back from talking about wrestling because it was Royal Rumble weekend. As we drift back to the gridiron, that is the NFL, because we got one last game to talk about from the 2025 NFL season. As yes, here we are on big game weekend, that is Super Bowl weekend, as it is that time for Super Bowl 60, as we got the two final teams that have made it throughout the 2025 season, endured the 2025 playoffs, and came out of it alive. And those teams are the Seattle Seahawks, representing the NFC, and representing the AFC, the New England Patriots, in this winner-take-all to determine the Super Bowl champions of the world for the 2025 campaign. So, yeah, that's what we're here to talk about today. Give you my little preview of it and my pick for this big game that, not so surprisingly, in my opinion, hasn't really been talked about as of much. There's not really a lot of hype surrounding this game, and I honestly don't really feel all that hyped for this game. Not because my team is not in it, but it's just not really. They just don't really, for some reason, feel like there's anything really going on. Not any exciting storylines going into this game. But I mean, we're still gonna talk about it though. But with this particular game, I just don't feel like there's any motion, like anything, like any like particular thing that stands out in this one. Maybe like a few things, sure, but not like nothing out of the ordinary. Out of the ordinary, anything specific. A lot of people are in favor of a specific team, but maybe by the end of this episode, we can pick out something out of, particularly a lot of people are saying nothing from this Super Bowl that is coming up here in the San Francisco Bay Area of Levi Stadium, which particularly apparently for a lot of people covering this game down in San Francisco, San Jose, it's been a shit show. It has been a shit show going from San Francisco to San Jose, doing opening night and all the festivities in both cities. Has barely been a crapshoot. I mean, what can you expect from the Bay Area and this traffic hellhole? But I mean, when they go to LA next year, I mean, could be worse. Could be worse than what we can offer. But we'll see. We'll see what happens this coming weekend. But yeah, my general consensus right now is I'm just not really feeling the Super Bowl. I actually sometimes even forget that it's happening. It's even happening this Sunday. Maybe because I'm still on the high of the 2026 WWE Royal Rumble, and yeah, who won that Royal Rumble? Maybe that was I didn't have expectations for that. And I didn't have my expectations were still pretty below average aside from the winners, which were pretty good in my opinion. It made up for the fact that for this Super Bowl. But yeah, my little aside from that, yeah, this Super Bowl for a lot of people, including myself, not really, not something that has been hyped up a lot, but we're still here to talk about it. So the little side note to open up this episode. Let's finally talk about the Super Bowl. Let's finally talk about Super Bowl 60 that's close to taking place this coming Sunday down in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium. So you got the two best teams that have finished up this 2025 NFL season, the 2025 NFL playoffs. That is obviously, as I mentioned, representing the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks, And the AFC side, the New England Patriots. This is a rematch from Super Bowl 49, 11 years ago. And these obviously are two much different teams from way back then. From the Seattle side, you had Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll in that Legion of Boom defense. And then on the other side with the Patriots, you had Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski in their own defense. So clearly two different teams from 11 years ago. And in that game, you had the Patriots coming back from a 10-point deficit. And Jermaine Kearse, when Seattle was trying to come back from the Patriots taking that lead, he made this crazy circus catch that got them in scoring range. And then we all know what happened. We all know what happened to end that game. The goal line interception, the stupid call from the Seahawks side of things to, rather than run in the end zone with Marshawn Lynch, they decided to, have Russell Wilson try to play hero ball and throw it at the one. Then we all know what happened from there with Malcolm Butler at the goal line, the Patriots corner. And yeah, the Patriots wound up winning that game and get their fourth Super Bowl title at the time, if memory serves me right. But yeah, that's what happened the last time these two teams met in the Super Bowl 11 years ago. Will history repeat itself from Phoenix, Arizona 11 years ago, only this time in Santa Clara? That remains to be seen. So let's talk about these two teams' path to the Super Bowl. For the Seattle Seahawks, around this time last year in the offseason, just to give you a brief summary, the main goal for their offseason last year was to give a little boost to their offense, because they finished their season, the previous season 10-7, and they missed the playoffs for 2 straight years despite a winning record. So they decided to change things up. They retooled their offense, most notably trading away Geno Smith to the Raiders and signing free agent Sam Darnold to a 3-year big fat contract to help out Sam Darnold in the offense, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. They signed former receiver from the Rams, Cooper Kupp, while drafting guards Greg Zabel to help bolster the offense, notably the interior offensive line, which has been troublesome for the Seahawks for quite some time. So that was their main primary focus for the Seahawks in going into the season. It gave them a more balanced offense as they look to challenge both the Rams and the 49ers in the NFC West. So when you look at the regular season, they had some growing pains, clearly, as they tried to adjust to Sam Darnold and their new pieces on offense. And the defense, which was pretty good in 2024, they had a bit of trouble as well. But they finished the season 14-3, their best record since their last trip to the big game 11 years ago in 2014. Despite some inconsistency on offense, Sam Darnold had another sharp year with less mistake-free performances from his previous campaign with the Minnesota Vikings. Backing him up was a dang near unstoppable all-pro receiver with, as I mentioned, Jackson Smith-Njigba. And you had this two-headed rushing attack in Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet, both whom found their footing late in the year to bounce out the offense. Yeah, that rushing attack, they really struggled for most of the year because, the offensive line was kind of iffy for half of the year as well. So that forced the passing attack to have more emphasis. But again, like I said, they picked it up late in the year to bounce out that offense. The defense continued to be a top tier one from the previous year, even against the best teams with the front seven led by Leonard Williams and new acquisition DeMarcus Lawrence that quickly rushed opposing quarterbacks and a shutdown backfield led by Devin Witherspoon. So overall, you have this very well balanced team that got to come out on top of a 3-way NFC West race, beating out the Rams and the 49ers in the final 3 weeks of the regular season for both the division and the NFC's top seed. So yeah, they got the first round bye in the playoffs, and when it came time for their first playoff game in their first home playoff game since 2020 in the pandemic, and their first round bye since that same time in the 2014 campaign. Yeah, it was the divisional game against the San Francisco 49ers. It was a relatively easy tune-up. Granted, it was against a beaten up 49ers team, but still, they dominated that team en route to their first NFC title game in 11 years. In that NFC title game against another division rival in the Rams, that was a much tougher outing due to the defense's inability to stop Matthew Stafford and a red-hot offense. And also given this is another rematch against another division rival. But Sam Darnold responded and answered the call with one of his best career outings, with the lights shining upon him. And he had a 3-touchdown outing, if I remember correctly, to get the Seattle Seahawks back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 11 years. So, yeah, with the Seattle Seahawks, you have to, even for a division rival, you have to give credit to them. They're a very good, well-balanced roster on both sides of the ball. And you could make a case for them winning this, potentially winning this game. Meanwhile, for the New England Patriots, they also have a great case for winning this game, just based on how well built they turned it around from last year up to this point. What do I mean by that? Well, looking at how they were last offseason, they finished the last year 4-13 in 2024. Robert Kraft fired one and done head coach Gerard Mayo and replaced him with another former Patriots player, but he also got a former and kind of more successful Titan head coach in Mike Vrabel, who last coached for the Tennessee Titans. So you got a familiar face in Mike Vrabel. And in the offseason last year at that point in time, Vrabel and general manager Elliott Wolf, they were very aggressive in upgrading the team on both sides. But the most important upgrades were around second-year quarterback Drake Maye. Because, yeah, Drake Maye, when he stepped in midway through the season in his rookie year, he didn't have a lot of help. He did not have a lot of help, especially in the offensive line. He was getting hit a lot. He was running around for a lot of his time, but he did show a lot of his potential as a third or fourth overall pick in the 2024 draft. But nonetheless, he showed a lot of potential in his rookie year despite a very poor supporting cast. Most of the signing team in free agency in the draft focused on the offensive line, like Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury, and then using the fourth overall pick on LSU tackle Will Campbell, and Stephon Diggs and Mac Hollins in the receiving end were also signed to help Drake Maye. Defensively, which had mixed results in 2024, got most of the love too, with guys like Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, Milton Williams, and Kyrus Tonga. They were signed to upgrade the pass rush. So when you look at the Patriots going into the preseason this past year, it was one that had some potential to ready them up for at least a playoff spot. And I said in my season preview that they could even challenge the Buffalo Bills for the AFC East. It was like a bold prediction, but at the time it was like anything could happen. So when you look at the regular season, after a rough 1-2 start, the Patriots went on to win 10 straight games, which included one against their division rival Buffalo Bills on the road on Sunday night, in what proved to be a key win to truly leapfrog their division rivals in the AFC East for the first time since 2019, about 5 or 6 years ago. Now, when you look at how they did overall in the regular season, say what you want about their schedule and how relatively easy it was. The team was playing lights out regardless, whether it was in runaway wins or in clutch time, and whether Drake Maye was doing it himself in clutch time or the defense, how they were doing. They had a turnaround season. Drake Maye continued his showing his potential, but he was expanding on that as well. Obviously, a good amount of credit has to go to is new and returning offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. Maye led multiple go-ahead drives and looked precise again in touchdown scores in both passing and rushing situations, which put himself in MVP conversation alongside Matthew Stafford from the Rams. So finishing the season 14-3 alongside the Seahawks, they earned their first AFC East title for the first time since 2019, and they got the 2 seed in the AFC playoffs, which I'll touch on in very shortly. So in the playoffs, Drake Maye, in contrast to the regular season, he didn't perform as well as he did in the regular season because of the increased gap in the competition, but he did make the plays that were just enough to put away the LA Chargers and the Houston Texans in their first 2 games in the playoffs, as they advanced to their first AFC Championship game since 2018. The main reason in the Texans and the Patriots in advancing to their first conference finals game was the defense, especially the pass rush, the front 7. They were the primary playmakers that stepped up to help Maye. They generated turnovers, and I say many turnovers, on both Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud. So they go to the AFC Championship game. But to get there, though, they had to go to Denver. They had to go to Denver and face the top-seeded Denver Broncos because they didn't have the advantage of getting the number 1 seed because, well, it came down to this weird tiebreaker, like this common opponents kind of thing, tiebreaker, because, well, it came down to the Patriots losing all the way back in week 1 to the Raiders. And, well, the Broncos, given that they were division rivals with the Raiders, they swept the season series. So that gave them the big advantage when it came down to it. But even then, it didn't matter to them. That was even as the weather conditions worsened in snowy conditions. The Patriots outlasted a gutsy Denver defense in a low-scoring affair. And this was a Denver team that just lost their starting quarterback a week prior, Bo Nix. But yeah, the Patriots outlasted them in a low-scoring game, a very low one, mind you, to win the AFC and advance to the Super Bowl for the first time since they last won it in Super Bowl 53 against the LA Rams. And that was the last one under Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So like I said, with this Patriots team, this is a well-balanced team, a well-coached team under Mike Vrabel. And yeah, Mike Vrabel really did a good job turning this team around and really got the best out of pretty much everybody, especially his defense. Drake Maye, you can't really pinpoint a single person on this turnaround. It's pretty much a collective effort. It explains a lot on why Mike Vrabel is a coach of the year candidate this year. So looking at the key matchups for this game, one of the big ones is the potential battle between Jackson Smith-Njigba, the Seahawks top receiver, and the top corner for the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez is the Patriots top corner. So expect those two to be going at it, and Christian Gonzalez doing everything he can to shut down Sam Darnold's top receiver. And two of the last big matchups that are on my list, the first one being the trenches, the Seattle's offensive line versus the Patriots defensive line, and vice versa. Which of those is gonna pressure the opposing quarterbacks harder? Because the Patriots defensive line is pretty dang good. Milton Williams and Kyrus Tongas, they've been having a great year. They can do a lot to pressure up Seattle's offensive line, which still has a bit of injury issues. And going into this game, and if Sam Darnold cannot handle the pressure at times, and he can be in trouble. Same with Drake Maye, who has been too on and off in the playoffs. If he cannot do anything against that Seattle front, then he can have trouble as well. So this game, it can come down to the trenches. That's just one of the things, though. But the biggest thing that will come down to this game is the quarterbacks. which quarterback will outlast the other? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be Drake Maye? These two are relatively young quarterbacks playing in their first ever Super Bowl at a relatively young age. So, and Sam Darnold especially, he's been in like high profile games before. I'd say in primetime games before, and in the past, he was notable for seeing ghosts before that Jets and Patriots game all the way back in 2019. But when you look at that last NFC Championship game, he clearly showed that he's well past that. He is well past that ghost game. But we'll see how he responds to once again having the lights shine bright on him on the biggest stage, which is the Super Bowl. And then you have Drake Maye. He's just a second-year quarterback going up against one of the NFL's top defenses once again. So this is a big matchup for both of them. So looking at the injury report for both of these teams, not too many of note since, it's so late in the season, and both of them are going in relatively healthy. The only thing to note for both these teams is for the Seahawks, their tackle situation on the offensive line. As I meant, that rotation of Charles Cross, Josh Jones, and Amari Knight, they're still dealing with their respective injuries. Amari Knight especially, and his knee injury, that kept him out of the NFC Championship game 2 weeks ago. But Cross and Jones, they did enough on the offensive line. But we'll see if Amari Knight will be good to go this coming Sunday. But Cross and Jones, I think they should be able to go. And then, as I mentioned in my NFC Championship review, Zach Charbonnet, he's gone for pretty much this game with the torn ACL from the NFC Divisional game. So Kenneth Walker III, he's going to be the lone back, workhorse back for this game. So that's going to place extra emphasis on the Seahawks running game and a back that the Patriots are going to clearly target in this one. And then for the Patriots, not many injury notes other than Drake Maye and his apparent shoulder injury. That was one of a kind of big storyline going into this one. But Mike Vrabel and Drake Maye are downplaying that. So, yeah, that's something to keep in mind. And then looking at the keys to victory for both of these teams, I pretty much mentioned this in my key matchups. So I'm not going to go too much into detail of it. For the Seahawks, obviously, as I mentioned, the good Sam Darnold from the NFC Championship game, he's going to have to not fold again. He's going to have to play like he did in that game under the brightest lights. So, as I mentioned, this is a big game. This is probably the biggest game of Sam Darnold's career. And with a much better supporting cast than he had with his previous teams, he cannot let this game up. He cannot let his team down. He with ample protection up front of him, even with a Patriots pass rush that's gonna be going up against him, Sam Darnold has to show the world what he's capable of, and if he can overcome his past demons. So this is going to be a big game for him. That good Sam Darnold that we got has to show up. Defensively, they got to play lights out on all fronts, especially in the trenches. They got to find a way to shut down Drake Maye. Don't let him escape the pocket. Keep him in there and force him to make some pretty interesting throws. For the New England Patriots, the Drake Maye, he has to play really well in this game, because in the last 3 playoff games that the Patriots had en route to this game, he hasn't really done a lot. He made some just enough plays, but he's got to do more than that in this one against a very tough playoff defense in Seattle. Now, granted, in fairness, sure, the weather conditions were not great, but, well, it's sunny here in Santa Clara, so you're not going to be able to blame. You can't use that as an excuse here this time around. So Drake Maye, he's got to play out. He's got to play out of his mind too in this game. Or there's going to be a lot of questions in the offseason about how not so good Drake May did in this one. Similar to the Seahawks defense, the Patriots defense, they got to at least confuse Sam Darnold into mistakes and make him regress back into, the bad Sam Darnold. So for as kind of low hype as this Super Bowl is, I mean, I'm gonna be tuning in just because, well, we have to review it here on the Very Cold Lasagna podcast. But for as kind of low hype as it is, there's still some a little bit of intrigue in this one. Just not as much as I expected, and how forgetful I can be at times with this game. But yeah, should be a kind of somewhat interesting battle of the quarterbacks and how much a little inexperience that they have. And I know for some reason, I'm not sure why people are ready to crown the Seahawks as the undisputed Super Bowl champions. Again, they're a well-balanced team, but in my opinion, I think the Patriots can find a way to outlast them, and given how well coached they are and how also very well balanced they are. Again, it's just going to come down to which quarterback can come out on top, and whether Mike Vrabel or Mike McDonald can outcoach the other. And in my opinion, I think Drake May can finally overcome whatever demons that he's been dealing with in the playoffs, bad weather and all, or whatever. But I do think Drake May can outlast Sam Darnold in this one. So, calling me surprised, I'm going with the Patriots to outlast the Seahawks in what could be a very tight battle in this one. So, that being said, let me know your Super Bowl predictions in the comments on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on audio, send me a DM on my socials at Very Cold Lasagna, and we'll see how it happens in the big game on Sunday, and we'll talk about it again in the next episode. So that being said, that has been this episode of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast. I've been your host, Dylan Lasagna, once again bringing you all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports for you sports fans out there like you and me. And if you're not already, make sure to hit the subscribe button on both YouTube and audio, and follow the show on my socials at Very Cold Lasagna. And until I see you in the next one, in the next episode, peace out.